All right, so welcome to another episode of the Milpa Show. And today we're actually doing something very special, something you've seen on a lot of shows that you may watch. There's a recap episode that we're doing. So if you have not seen any of the episode thus far of the Milpa Show, make sure to, I guess you could just watch this episode and just catch up and then just go from there and then go back and watch episode 1 through 12. So with that, I will pass it to my co-host to do some introductions and then we can get started.
Oh yeah, y'all be tuning into this episode on December 3rd, and you're gonna be listening to like us talk about all the episodes, the 12 plus episodes I think that we have recorded here on the Mipa show that highlights 10 unique, at least 10 unique individuals that are within our own communities, are doing a lot of positive things, that also have their own outlets to not outlets, but like their own sense of guidance to how they can provide you the support and being an activist, or a leader within whatever expertise, whatever space that you want to be in, right? So again, we encourage you all to tune into all those episodes. Continue to be a leader within your own communities, and continue supporting. The Meeple Show will continue on for a long time. We'll be here. We post it up, and continue to invite you all to our movimientos. Um, but yeah, Rosara, I don't know if you want to start with get some badges or whatever it is that you want to go ahead and get started with.
Yes, sir. Yes. So, in terms of baggages, so anyone that may not know me, my name is Rosaura Figueroa Mendoza. I'm actually here in Hayward, and I am the communications coordinator at MILPA and also a co-host of the MILPA show. And in terms of baggages, I would say I don't have any particular baggage. Just I was talking to Arturo about anxiety, and we actually had a women's circle yesterday about mental health, and so that was really really cool. And I always really like doing those because I feel like it's a really awesome space to just be with other sisters and talk about real topics that may affect our lives. And so just just being able to get a handle on anxiety, because honestly things like anxiety, depression, these things don't run us. Like these are things that come up through trauma experiences that have happened to us. And so making sure that you get the help that you need, whether that means that like a therapist, or finding your self-care routine of like, oh, I need to take a walk, I need to make sure that I eat, I need to sleep, or whatever it may be. Exercise is a big thing for me as well, like, or martial arts, right? And so it may be different for a lot of people, but make sure to take care of yourself because you're the ruler of your own body, of your own temple, right? So make sure to take care of yourself in whatever way you need. So there's no, again, like particular baggage, just an ongoing making sure that I'm taking care of myself every day, and that looks different every day. So there's that. In terms of gifts, honestly, there's a lot of gifts. I have my little virgencita right here, and candles, and just like thankful for el techo, la comida, el movimiento, poder respirar. Like all of these are things that we may take for granted, but at any moment we can wake up and like, oh fuck, like I don't have a limb, or I can't use, like I can't breathe the same way, or different things that may come up that like we don't have anything guaranteed for tomorrow. So making sure that we are living in gratitude and giving thanks to just like my parents and my family, and water, and so just really grateful for a lot of things. So what about for you, Arturo? Who are you, if anybody has not seen you or heard from you or knows of your work, and also your gifts and baggages?
Cool. So for myself, I'm Arturo Velaz Muñoz. For me, I like to hold myself as a podcaster, right? I mean, I do a lot of great things out there too. I'm a community, not community, I'm a communications coordinator también with Youth Alliance. I do my own podcasting, my own digital platform called Barrio Voices too, where I highlight the communities within our barrios. And just, yeah, all these different things that I do, in addition to that is, me being a brother, a son, a partner, and all these different things, a leader, I would say, también todo. Pero overall, for me, like, as a personal level, también I think, I am now, well, as a baggage, right? One thing that I've come to have difficulty with was like, setting a boundary between, let's say the work that I do, right? Which is like, again, with the Various Voices at my digital platform. So again, it's the being on social media starts to feel like work. It starts to feel like I can't even enjoy it because I'm always like, trying to find innovative ways. I feel like I have to give back to someone, though that's all right, which is, my responsibility, of course. Pero the fun was taken out of that, right? So, I, did my little withdrawal, not withdrawal, but like, detox, I would say. I don't know what you want to call it, but like detox. And I took some time off of it, and now I'm feeling like, I feel good, feeling like I'm coming back with a revamped version of Out of Voices, got some good things coming on up. I created a cool calendar that I got in discounted price through Black Friday, right? That I ordered online. So I got a hell of new calendars coming your way también for varios voices. So if you want to purchase some too, let me know. Pero yeah, you could visit the website variovoices.com/store, right? Pero yeah, again, it's like I'm coming back with a refreshed mind, with the heart that I've had y todo, right? And so those are my gifts and badges, right? The boundaries part, and also like again coming back as a re-energized, as like as brand new. But my one tip that I want to start off with is for everybody that's tuning in, right? Sometimes we'll feel that burnout, right? Pero también la pasión, el amor for the movement that we are building, right? That is like forever long, right? So even though you feel burnt out for a little bit, take care of yourselves, and I know for sure that you'll come back with a fresh heart once again, and doing what you love, at a greater potential, So, I'm glad that y'all are tuning in. And today, yeah, we're talking about, our year 2020, right? The episodes that we have created. We started airing episodes since like June 17th. So we've been at it for 6 months basically, And so it's really nice to be reflecting on 2020 and also talking about like, what's to come, what is that we are expecting from here and out, what is that we are excited to share with y'all, right? Pero as of 2020, what are your initial thoughts, Rosaura? How has it been being launching the Milpa show for everybody that's out there and tuning in?
Dude, 2020 has been crazy. It's been a curveball. Obviously, all of us have been experiencing a lot of different things with the pandemic. And I was reflecting on how there was like a good 2 weeks here in the Bay Area, and also y'all too, right? Like in San Jose and Salinas, Monterey County, right? It was a good 2 weeks of like the pandemic, and there was fire, so we couldn't go out for that extra purpose of, making sure that we're not breathing in the smoke. And so it's been a lot of a whirlwind, and I'm hearing a lot from people, and I'm experiencing this myself. The lack of social interaction of like we cannot go out the same way that we used to, of like, oh cool, I'm gonna go hit up downtown Hayward or downtown Salinas, or like get together with my friends downtown San Jose, wherever it is that you get together with folks and socialize, however you socialize, even if it means like you're playing Scrabble with your family or your friends or loteria or whatever that means to you. Like, we are social creatures, and when we don't have that, we get a little bit loosey goosey, right? And so I would say that's been one of the biggest challenges on reflecting on 2020. But there's been a lot of gifts as well. Gracias a Dios, we do have a roof over our head, and we have that time to be able to be reflective. And so there's been a lot of gifts with the Milpa show, even being able to talk to a lot of different guests that we have gotten to talk to, that are all talented in their own ways, that are all involved in their own ways, and doing things to better the community, or even if they don't think of themselves in that way, they are engaged in some way to just better themselves, right? And better their community, their families, whatever that may mean to them. And so it's been really cool to and challenging to do the Milpa show. I would say that even like working with you, Arturo, like you're a beast when it comes to like doing things on time and doing things like, all right, what are we gonna do? What's the plan? This, that, right? And so I've learned a lot from you of being able to be on point on that front of the behind the scenes. Because it's not, because like y'all may be watching this, right? And it's like, oh, cool, like they put out something every 2 weeks or however, right? But it's actually a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes. And so I just really appreciate you. Your working style, your work ethic, and being able to put something out that is going to continue to grow, right? We've received feedback of what can we do to make the Milpa show better? And at any time, feel free to comment. Like, you can comment on YouTube, you can send us a DM or comment on our Instagram, or however it is that you wish to comment. Feel free to always give feedback and say like, hey, I want to see more memes, or I want to see a segment of this, or I want to more music included, or whatever it may look like for you that's going to be engaging. Feel free to let us know. But there's a lot in the works for 2021 that I'm excited for sure. But before we get into our guests, feel free to, for you, Arturo, if you want to share any highlights of these past 6 months that we've been putting out the Milpa show, or just anything from 2020 that is coming up for you.
For me, it's like again the thing I like the most is like how you mentioned we got to know a lot of different community members, right? Not just the community members, but like people that are again our ordinary gente that are doing dope things, right? Like, again, this being a leader within your community doesn't mean you're it's like a superhero with special powers or whatever. No, you just got, como dijo, I think Dolores, no, ¿quién dijo? Yeah, Dolores Huerta, I think, you could, forgot how she said it directly, but me paraphrasing is like, every day is a good day to, do something, to take an action, make some kind of movimiento, right? And so that's what everybody that we've had on, are doing, everybody is on here that has or is on the podcast, that has their own, like, their own journeys, their own lives and everything, right? I'm just thinking again, like, when we did one on pesticides, we had an individual, Juan también, that he was very much, I could see him as an OG, deal, right? That I could definitely connect to. And he was telling his own story too, where he's talking about, like, being with Chavez, the huelgas, and also, like, now, fighting, like, against pesticides, basically environmental racism and everything, right? Then we have others, right? Like, and so La Sopa Queen también, she's a mother. She's definitely a powerful individual within the community, right? Doing a lot of great things. But also her music, right? Her creativity allows her to really, again, motivate young mujeres too, to also, like, follow their dreams, do their thing, and be a hip hop artist también, whatever it is they want to do. But again, all these individuals have nothing different, to one another. They're all from live in Salinas. They're all from Monterey, county, right? They're all doing powerful things. And to me, that's really, like, again, that's the picture that we want to highlight, right, of Salinas, right? Sometimes we are stereotyped or stigmatized as, like, negative community, right? While we have all these beautiful things within us, right? That we are often not highlighted as well as other things, right, by the news or other kind of media outlets. But for us, we're definitely highlighting this part of our community, right? So y'all get to, again, be reassured that we have a lot of powerful things and great things within ourselves, within the community, and great mentors too, to reach out to and be like, what, I want to also fight against pesticides. What, I also want to be a hip hop artist, or what, I've been impacted this way as well. I want to share my story, and so on. There's a platform for y'all to, again, network with the guest speakers that we've had on, but also, like, be part of it. Embrace it as a part of your community. También, we're definitely here to support y'all and be fighting la lucha with y'all too. We're definitely not different to you as well. We always have the same corazón as you. So to me, that's what I like the most. And yeah, I think it's going to 2021. I'm gonna miss it. It's because, again, it's that coming the end of December, I'm gonna be transitioning now to a different job role and everything like that, right? It'll, to me, again, it's that I have my platform out of Oasis where I get some of that, right? But again, it's nothing like Salinas. It's nothing like Monterey County, where all these individuals are, again, it's very um amazing to see that they're all coming from one place, right? They're all that, all these voices that we're capturing, that they're all from one county, one community, right? And have so much to provide us, So that's definitely a blessing. That's definitely something that I always will hold within my heart. And again, continue using this as a resource, Rosaura and I, whoever, anyone from MIPA, any of our guest speakers, hit them up, hit us up, and everything. So that's my little reflection of 2020 and 2021.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for that. And I can say that, we can give maybe like a little recap of each episode. And I could say that for episode 1, we had our own Luis Chago Juarez, and he's with Bactune 12. He's the artistic director over there. And he's honestly like a wizard of Salinas, right? Just like this person that has so many stories, so creative, a lot of energy. When you talk to him, you can see, like, when he speaks, he has a lot of love for theater first and foremost, and for just community, and being able to bridge that gap between of, like, how do we talk with the gente, like the gente, like for reals, like the gente that don't have internet, like the las señoras, los señores that are older, our elders, our young people, like people that historically maybe have not had a seat at the table of, like, being able to see theater, like, oh, let me go to the theater because I have time and money to spend, right? But how do we still get the theater to them? Because, he's talked about how, like, theater was used even during the movement, during, like, the Chicano movement, right? To be able to, como teatro campesino, right? Being used to be able to tell the stories. And so with that, Chago's a great person to know, and just a person who's doing things in Salinas, in Monterey County. And so shout out to him and Bactune 12.
Simone, and the next one on the list too, if we want to go down the list, it'll be yeah, we have a lot of them. Let me try, open my screen so I can read the bios también. So we have again, we have Chavo, we had South County Blues, when we had other people within MIPA. Also reflect on, like, how the city council board city council meetings went, school board meetings, and county board of supervisor meetings went, and all that was very much a reflection of their meeting that they had prior, the week prior, and then también como fue how they are very limiting on the way that we are allowed into those kind of spaces, right? You know, again, we only have one giving public comments, stuff like that. We only get 1 minute, then we're shut off, right? And just things like that, that is very inaccessible in the ways that they say they hear us, but they really don't, right? They're trying to take our our opinions into consideration, our thoughts into consideration, but you know, how well is it really taken in and embraced? That's, you know, it's up to them, you know. Pero again, this is a reminder that it's really important for us to really be out there, push for things in our city council meetings, in our board of supervisor meetings y todo eso, porque really, if we are allowing us to be um this enabled from entering that space, then a lot of the things that are being decided upon, right, within our own communities are being decided with our own input, within our own stories taken into consideration, and we definitely need to be taken into account, right, and heard, because a lot of the things that they're deciding on really impacts our own community. So again, this episode really goes to encourage y'all to be part of those meetings. That's one way of, you know, being involved within the community, but there's a lot of different ones that we go to highlight within the podcast as well. Yeah.
So shout out to Bobby Joe Garcia, Alexis Magdaleno, and Ramon Jesus Fragoso, who are from episode 2. And the Bobby Joe and Ramon are from Greenfield, and Alexis is from Soledad. So they're representing that's just South County. And like Arturo said, even when you do show up to city council or wherever, it's like como que se hacen sordos, and they just like want to keep doing the status quo, right? Like what they've always been doing. And so it can be a little bit frustrating, but gracias a Dios, they're out there and they're doing the damn thing. So like you can learn more about those efforts with episode 2.
Yeah, and the next one after that is también just to read them off just real quick too. The next one is a pesticides one with Hector y Juan. Again, they're talking about the way that Safe Ag, right, is an organization that's pushing for again to provide a more just environmental environmental justice, right, and not allowing pesticides to be, you know, dispersed or, you know, blown over our schools, our communities, our barrios, right, to, you know, push that to another limit or just abolish them entirely, because they might be good for crops, but they're not good for the community they're being sprayed on, right? And so that's something else that, you know, came into the conversation. We also had neighborhood music with Sofa Queen, again, very powerful individual, really sharing her own story of her creativeness, right? But also, you know, sharing, you know, why is it important for us to invest in our younger, you know, as the people within the community, right? That also have the potential to be a musician, an artist, a creative thinker, you know, and all these, you know, amazing things that we're not investing in, right? So how can we adjust the city budgets, right, to really reflect that, and, you know, invest in our youth, invest in our, you know, young semillitas and stuff like that.
And if you have
Um,
not seen her live, you're missing out. Hopefully when we
uh,
can, we can get together and be able to do shows again. But she's amazing live, and just, being able to be with our gente and hear stories that resonate with us is always super key, especially from the mujeres. So shout out to La Sofa Queen with episode 4. And with episode 5, we actually did youth decarceration during COVID-19. LV was a mother who actually reached out. I believe she follows us on social media, and we had put something out there about just like during the pandemic, it was really hard for everybody, but especially for folks that are incarcerated, that like, where can you really go? There's no social distancing. There's no real measures being taken to be able to make sure that everything is clean and sanitary, being able to wash hands or have masks, or even like not they're not allowing people to see their family members. So it's already difficult to be incarcerated, and then there's a pandemic, and then there's like you can't really communicate too much with your family or see them. And so she was very much concerned for her son, who thankfully is now out of the juvenile hall, but at the time, when we recorded, he was actually still in the juvenile hall, and she was really concerned. Just he was a young kid that had been in there on a minor violation, but now his life was potentially at risk with something as serious as the pandemic, as with COVID-19, of being incarcerated, not really having the materials to be able to make sure that, you know, things were clean. And so there was a lot of concern on her part. And so I think she spoke for a lot of parents that might have youngsters or family members that have people at the Monterey County Jail that were concerned about their loved ones that were incarcerated.
Yeah, the next one también is valuing local talent with Rob from Masa de la Raza. This individual is really a spark within the community that really goes to again highlight the creativeness within Salinas or his local communities, right? He's always highlighting local artists, local vendors, local anything local. He's right there. It's the Master for la Raza really basically highlighting all the people that are putting things down for the community out there. Just again, this individual is very humble, kind-hearted, and whenever it comes to like meeting him, he's always down to support you too. He's not only trying to highlight the work that you're doing out there, right? But he's also very much trying to connect you, provide you resources. I remember when I transitioned from my old podcast for the Vibes podcast into my new podcast, which I'm holding now currently, Body Voices. He also provided me with the equipment to launch it, to just to get it going, and then I returned the equipment back. But again, this is an individual that has always been a huge support in my journey, right? And he continues to be a huge support in others, a lot of other journeys too. And again, he's not only highlighting the people, but he's always very much supportive. He's like the one that I'm just trying to think about like, yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think about like if I were to put like a more symbolic uh scratch whatever I said. But anyways, again, he's doing a lot of great things for the community. Again, he's doing a lot of great things. He's working a lot, and within his breaks he's doing a lot of things such as uploading his videos, and just yeah, sacrificing every break he has to continue to highlight us. So again, much love for him. He also had COVID like the week or 2 weeks after, and again, he got that from just being out there within the community, it's the highlighting us. And so it's unfortunate he's done that. I mean, that he got got COVID, through that. But again, that shows how determined he is to be out there, as to highlighting us, as they're always giving and so on. So, I'm glad he's doing well, and I'm glad that we continue to support him, and I'm really grateful for him to be part of our communities.
Yeah, saludos to Rob, that electronic god. He actually came out during a town hall that we had at the amphitheater in Salinas, and he provided a lot of help with to Daniel from Bactune 12, and just was there helping out with like the audio and like making sure that all the electronical goodness was flowing and smooth and whatnot. So shout out to him and his familia, that they be well, and check out that episode if you have not already.
Yeah, and he does it all for free too. Like I'm telling you, he's definitely someone that is always giving. And I'll do the next one too. It's the Latina mentorship with Comadres 81. They're another podcast too. So if you don't listen to Comadres 81, hit them up too. Listen to the podcast, give me 5 stars y todo, porque también they're always someone that are trying to provide dialogues for our mujeres out there, right? For anybody out there that wants to be a comadre, right? Whoever it is out there that still wants to again be part of dialogues that are not always sad, right? So they're always talking about yes, again, opening the dialogues to different things within the platform, but their overall mission is to get again be a comadre to you, be open to you, be you know in- inviting of you, again, it's their podcast, not only a podcast, right? They're always trying to again um build community, right? Or run other commanders within the Salinas area, the 831 area, and build the community, right? Build that sense of like, we have a lot of stories out there that, could be that we could all resonate with, and so they definitely had some talks as to again, as they're highlighting their experiences, right, within Salinas, right, as as comadres, right, but also again, their ¿cómo se llaman? Frenchie and Samantha, right? They both also got to know each other very recently, and right after sparking, the friendship, again they become comadres right away, right? And they wanted to kind of share that kind of vibe with everybody else too, that we could all be, supporting one another. We could all be friends with one another. We could always yeah, support, as
Even
they
dude,
are
if
each
y'all
other
want to be
comadres, right?
comadres, you can be comadres too. It's okay. It just don't have
Exactly.
to be a lady. It's all good. And shout out to Samantha, who actually was our MC for the town hall that I just mentioned at the amphitheater. Did an amazing job. And we actually have another episode called "Let's Talk About the Budget" with Edgar Ernesto Ibarra Gutierrez, who has 4,000 names, and Nick Musni of Agents of Change. And we talked about the budget and how, and actually, we've been talking a lot about the budget since we started. We've
Mhm.
been talking a lot about the budget. And originally, they were gonna revisit at the Board of Supervisors in Monterey County the budget in December, but now they've pushed it to February of next year, and so that gives us a little bit extra time to make sure that we are doing coalition building with other organizations and making sure we're all on the same page when it comes to demanding a budget that really takes care of us as a people, right? Especially the people, obviously, of Salinas, Monterey County, and whatnot. And so that was a really cool episode as well. Shout out to them for coming out and speaking. And then we also did Conserving Our Land. This was with CCA. So if you're not familiar with CCA, they are based in Salinas. They are the Center for Community Advocacy and Big Sur Land Trust. And so we talked a lot about the Car Lake Project, and the Car Lake Project is part of the Alisal Vibrancy Plan. And it's mainly a park project, an outdoors project to make sure that we are using land where people can go for a walk, recreation, a community center. And so make sure to check out that episode to learn a little bit more of each of the organizations, because each of them are dope and doing great work. But then also just learning about like what are the things being done in Salinas and Monterey County to make sure that we're using the land in a way where we can actually benefit from it and go out and exercise and take a walk and have parties or go on a bike ride or whatever it might be, right? Community center. And so that's also super key as well.
And then after, you want to go do the next one?
Yeah, and then we also did Chinachli Rites of Passage, Passage, Rites of Passage. So Chinachli, if you're not aware, it's a Rites of Passage, este curriculum for young girls, which is also like gender expansive, like LGBTQ, like non-binary, like folks are welcome, right? However it is that you identify, but it's mainly a way for folks to talk about things like maybe like in your family you didn't talk about reproductive health, or you didn't talk about boundaries, or like how to make sure that you feel respected in a relationship or what have you. And so these are the topics that are touched upon within Chinachli. And this is with Airam and Desiree, who are both Chinachli. They facilitated Chinachli, right? And so they're awesome folks to know if you don't know them already from Milpa. And so make sure to check them out.
Yeah, next episode is the Division of Justice, Juvenile Justice Closure, right? So the DJJ, right? They ended up closing this not too long ago también, but three of our MIPA staff have been, within that space, I think, if I got them correct, it was Christian, Edgar, y, what was the other one?
George.
George. And so all three of them have done this some time in there too. And so for them to be out right now and stay doing the work, right, and making sure that we again, abolish prisons and the school prison pipeline and all this, right? And their work are now like they are seeing that, right, not just stay within their communities, but like within the spaces that have been impacted by, like the DGJ. And so again, that's a victory for the MILPA, right, but also for them as well, showing that the work that we're doing right here is very much that really much counts, right? And is really much reflecting within our communities. But I don't know if you want to have anything else to say about the episode, no, Rosaura.
No, that was just a really insightful episode. I got feedback yesterday from Alexis, actually, that said that he learned a lot from that episode in particular. And I'm really happy that we're able to highlight even like the Milpa folks, right, that have been incarcerated, because that's the reason that like Milpa came together, right? It's always putting people that have been formerly incarcerated, system impacted at the center, people that have been through like the foster care system or whatever their life experience has been, like making sure that we like that's why we do the work that we do, that like we don't want more young people to end up in prisons, locked up, and otherwise system impacted in a way that can cause them more trauma, right? And so making sure that we are creating spaces for them. But it was one of the things that I really, really liked was that I asked the question of, well, where did we get the idea even of like, oh, like if somebody does something wrong, we're gonna lock them in a cage, right? And so we went into depth a little bit more about like getting each person's answer basically, and just I found that really insightful, just because like it's not something that really came from indigenous ways or culture. It's something that's very, very European and white, Eurocentric. And so it's just interesting how we and then a lot of the people that are incarcerated, like the 2 million, however many people that are incarcerated are majorly Black and brown folks. And so it's just interesting how, like, how is it that we're living under this system that didn't even really come from our culture, right? And so
Mm.
that I found really insightful. So I will say that. And our final episode, which you will see soon, is actually with the, what can I call him? He's like the brains, the wizard, the just the driving force behind Milpa, Juan Gomez. And so that's a really, really cool episode. I really enjoyed. I always really enjoy talking to Juan because he's very he speaks directly, but he also talks in metaphors. And so I get a lot from being able to pick up on, like, well, what does it mean to be someone who's in the movement and is doing this for the long term? And like, how do you, and like going back to what you were talking about, Arturo, about how, like, damn, like sometimes we do go through this type of like burnout of like, man, I'm tired. I'm like, how am I gonna keep doing this for like the long run, right? But Juan is very much somebody that who exemplifies, well, this is how you do it. You got to take care of yourself. You got to really love what you do, love the people, have the purpose clear, the background clear as to why you're doing all these things, right? And so it's always really good to talk to him and get a lot of knowledge from him. So I really, really enjoyed being able to be a part of that episode and highlighting him. And you'll see that soon as well.
Yeah, I find it interesting when you call him a wizard. You know, makes me think, how do you see how is that? I don't know, but it's really nice because it's very much yeah. I think of him también as like a almost a majestical, not elder, but like almost an elder, right? Like he's definitely always again, like you said,
Yeah.
always talking about like our relatives, right? The animals around us, right? Our relatives, right? And the ways that they are blessings to us every now and then, right? I remember when he said when he first began to begin the process of creating MIPA as a 501(c)(3), right, and becoming licensed and everything, right, that he's had a again like I think it was like a hawk, right, or an eagle, right, that was flying right by him, and he said like that was our sign that they gave us the blessing, right. And the day later he got they were approved, and so again it's like he's always again stay connected with the earth, right, big time, connecting with everything around him, right, with that tierra, with our relatives, with a lot of different things around us, a lot of different creations, right, and that again he observes them, embraces them, and instead through all his observations he could find meaning out of them, right. So to me, like, that's very much again like it's very dope because again we always forget about our connection, right, with one another, or with even still with with trees or anything that's around us, right. And so he's definitely one that takes the sense, the word well-being to another level. How are you doing, spiritually, with your health, how's your energy doing right now, y todo eso. So again, for him to be a co-founder of MIPA, I know that MIPA's in good hands. I know he's taking care of it really well. And so yeah, it's a real pleasure talking to him. One thing that I remember that I really felt inspired, is through his talk was, our connection with our elders, is that making sure that we continue to we pass down the palabra of, like, what does it mean to be a healthy individual, right? Such as, the curriculum of Chinashli, Joven Noble, or whatever, right? And so there's a lot of different ways that we could learn from our elders that will remind us that we are special, that we are sacred, right? That we are um these powerful beings, right? So again, really appreciative of them, and yeah, I look forward to, yes, again, shooting some calls and learning some more también.
You see. So with that, feel free to check out again on YouTube, on Spotify, just all the episodes that we've done. We have more upcoming episodes that we are going to be putting out. And just again, going back to the conversation on how there's not a lot of media out there. I was sharing with the Milpa folks that over the weekend, gracias a Dios, we had this nice break, and I had a chance to. I just went on YouTube and I started watching like different movies that were available. I rewatched Mi Familia and La Misión, and then I watched Mi Vida Loca, which I had always heard about it, but I had never actually seen it, right? But it's just interesting to be able to get like, cool, like there's movies out there about us, but it doesn't show our whole depth, our whole cultura. Like, it doesn't always show all of the dimensions of who we are. And even so, there's a lot of some people, when looking at the credits of the movies, especially for Mi Vida Loca, I believe it was written, it sounded like a Anglo sounding name, which there's nothing wrong with, but ultimately it's like, man, like I look forward to getting to the point where we have people behind the scenes that are writers, directing, executive producing, doing all the behind the scenes, and then also being in front of the camera, that are folks that come from the culture, that understand the culture. Which again, there's nothing wrong with white writers, but who knows, like, what is their experience really? They may be showing just a small sliver of who the Chicano, brown person, Latinx person, however it is you identify, who they are, instead of actually showing the whole breadth of them as a human being. And so that's just something that with the Milpa show, we hope to again just continue disseminating milpa news on culture, consciousness, movement building, but also providing a call to action of, okay, now that we've heard all of these individuals speak, what's the actual call to action, right? And you'll see in each episode everybody has something different to say, right? Like depending on who they are, where they come from, what their background is, they'll say, okay, like get involved in this way. But there's a lot of different ways to get involved. It's really just, again, being healthy. Hopefully you're healthy and happy first and foremost, but then also thinking about, well, what do you actually like to do? What do you want to contribute, right? It could be writing, it could be photography, it could be whatever it is, dance. I see people are super talented. So however it is you want to contribute to the movement is always, I think, going to be welcome. And there's always going to be someone, like an audience or someone that wants to see you thrive, right? So I just really look forward to continuing to build that movement and that wave of just whatever you want to call it, brown power, or like brown talent, or just like people telling these stories that like we can really resonate with in a big way, right? So I look forward to that for sure.
Yeah, and I think if we transition a little bit to call to actions, my call to action for this episode again is to, again we're talking about media, being represented, right? Having our own estate community highlighted by our own community members, right? So I would say for this call to action, right, for this episode is choose your favorite episode and share it within your own social media platform and share it with your friends. Share your favorite episode with your familia. Making sure that they also learn about what stood out to you. So again, select the episode that you like the most and you share with the world. Make sure that they follow us también, that they hear how special we are and how significant our community really is to the contribution of like the whole world, right? And especially the salad bowl,
Mm.
Salinas, So Simon,
Dude,
what about you, Rosaura?
whenever I buy lettuce, it says Salinas right on there. So
No.
shout out to Salas and to Monterey County and everyone who's from there. Y'all are definitely really special. And again, my call to action, just find what you love to do. Like it may be writing and maybe doodling. I think just what makes you happy, make sure to do that and share it with people. Sometimes we do things and then I know I sometimes feel like that, like, oh, I'm just gonna keep it to myself because I don't think anybody else cares, right? No, but share it with us. Feel free to DM us or tell us about events. People will DM us about events, about things that are
Mm.
happening. So make sure to let us know about what's going on. So and just thank you for watching, and gracias. Que pasen buen día.